Hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. You know, there are some evil folks out there. Now, there are some good ones too, but it seems like the evil ones are always trying to figure out ways to either scam or destroy the good ones. I recently did a video about a terrifying ploy that people are using to abduct women. And I shared a woman's story. Fortunately, she was able to discover what was going on and escape from their grip. Thousands of you watched that video, and so many of you thanked me for giving you the warning so you would know what to look out for so you would not become a victim. And you also shared it with your loved ones. I'll leave a link to that video in the comment section for this video. But there's another scam going on. This one is also horrifying, but it is designed at taking your money from you and cleaning you out and using a just despicable tactic to do it. And a number of people have already fallen victim to it. So I'm going to tell you about that today. And stay tuned to the end. I'm going to share some steps you really may want to consider taking, as they could possibly just keep you from becoming a victim of this latest horrifying scam. So come on, let's get started. This is how this new horrifying scam works. And this was shared by a young woman who experienced it, or at least her family experienced it. Around 2 or 3 in the morning, both she and her brother, who live at 2 different residences, got telephone calls. Now just think about this, first of all. At least for me, if the phone rings at 2 or 3 in the morning and I glance over and see what time it is, my heart just starts pounding. I already am in a panic mode because people don't call you at 2 or 3 in the morning to give you good news. They're not calling to tell you, oh, I just got a raise or something good. They're calling because something urgent, a crisis has happened. And, I know when my parents were alive, whenever they would call, I would look at the clock, and if it was late, and first of all, you're waking up. So when you're waking up and you look at the clock and see what time it is, my heart would just almost jump out of my chest. So I can imagine what happened when they got these calls. First of all, she didn't answer the phone because she had her phone turned down, but her brother answered the phone. And the first thing he hears before anyone says anything is he hears a voice in the background, a woman's voice, screaming and crying, and it sounds exactly like his mother. So he's thinking that his mother is somewhere screaming and crying for help and yelling. And after he hears this for a few moments and he's all terrified and scared and already discombobulated from, just waking up and not quite oriented and already programmed to think this is something bad because of the time of the call, a man's voice comes on the line and in a menacing tone says, "I have your mother." Can you imagine? How you would feel if they said, "I have your mother," or your child, or someone you loved, and then proceeds to tell them, "You better send," and they give him an amount of money, and they give him a way to send it. "You better send it now," or they say they're going to unalive. I can't use the word on YouTube, but they're going to unalive his mother. Can you imagine the terror he must have been experiencing? He's heard his mother's, or what he thinks is his mother's, voice in the background. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say this. I don't know how I could have forgotten this. But the call came from his mother's number. It didn't only have his mother's number. It had her picture, the same picture he has on his phone next to her number. And it also had how she's listed in his contacts. And I think she was listed as either mom or mother or something. But the sister, by the way, who didn't answer her call, it also had the mother's picture, and it had how she was listed in her contacts, which was different from how her brother had it listed. She had it listed mommy or something. But both calls that came into their phones had the mother's picture, the mother's telephone number, and also the name that they had for her in their contacts, or in their contacts rather. Now, I don't know how they do this. If anyone is really technically savvy and can explain how someone's able to pull your contacts and everything out from your phone, let me know. But apparently, through AI of some sort, they were able to replicate his mother's voice and make it sound like her in the background. So you've got the mother's voice in a distressful voice. You've got her phone number, her picture, her contact. So he's, of course, thinking that this is his mother calling and that this man is holding her captive. Now, he is talking to the person who says they have his mother. And I don't remember whether he had a second phone or whether he was trying to make another call on the phone that he was talking to this individual who called him. But he's trying to call his father because the mother and father live in the same house. They're married. And they would be together at that time in the morning. So he's trying to contact the father, but the father's not answering because of the time. He's trying to call his mother. The mother's not answering because, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So he can't reach anyone. So he's really, the more people he's trying to contact while he has this party on the phone, the more he's starting to panic. But one thing he did have, he had a program called Life 360, and he had his loved ones on that program. It's a program that tells you where their phone is. Supposedly it tells you where they are because they're with their phone, but it tells you where the phone is. And what he could see on the phone was that his mother was at her residence. So he started thinking, well, why haven't they said anything about my dad, them also having my dad? And then he hears a baby crying in the background. So he starts to get suspicious and he's thinking, this is odd. But he's still in a panic. But the sister is telling the story, says that her brother's very logical. And so he starts acting, I think he was acting like he's losing the call or something. So he hangs up. He immediately calls the police, gives them the parents' address, tells them where the parents are located. And apparently the police said this is a scam that's been going around, but we'll go over and we will go and check on them. Meanwhile, he gets in the car, starts driving over there. And en route, the dad calls. I guess the police got to the house, found out that, the mother wasn't being held captive. But this is what the new scam is. They can get your contact somehow. They connected who was the mother, who was the son, who was the daughter. So apparently they were trying to rip off both the daughter and the son. They were able to replicate the mother's voice. So, these scams are getting more and more sophisticated. And with AI, it's going to be all out, just front assault, So I said in the beginning that I was going to give you some pointers that I thought might be helpful. One thing I strongly urge you to do is to get, if not Life 360, but some kind of tracking device for all your loved ones, and have your loved ones have you on one also, especially if you're a nomad or living in a vehicle and traveling around the country. Have something where people can track at least where your phone is or where it was last. That is, I think, really, really important. The second thing I would suggest, and I guess this is as a result of me being a peace officer for 20 years, I would want proof of life. I would want them to put the person they say they have on the phone, and I would insist on that, putting them on the phone so I could speak with them. Now, given that there's AI that's developing rapidly, getting more advanced all the time, where they can replicate voice patterns and make it sound like the person they claim they have. The third thing I would do, I would have some phrase that me and that person knew. And if we're in a situation, that they would use that phrase to let me know it's them. Whether it's Jurassic Park or Grand Canyon, I don't know, and have them say something like, I wish we could go to the Grand Canyon again when we get out of this mess, or something. Or, I want to see Jurassic Park when we meet again. But something, a phrase that you and them know is a word or phrase that they're to use to let them know that it's you. And don't put that phrase in your phone or anywhere where people could pull it out. But they will know it. So you will know when you're talking to that person if it's really who they say it is. But the fourth thing, I wouldn't send the funds, and I'll tell you why. Let's just say it was them. They can ask for a certain amount of money. You then send that money. How do you know they won't then come around and say, oh, well, I need 2,000 more or 4,000 more or 5,000 more? Although the amount that they asked for, I think, was around $2,500, if I remember correctly what the young woman said. And that's an amount that many people could get. If they called different family members or other people, they could come up with amounts. So they weren't asking for 50, 100, like a real ransomer person would do. They were asking for a relatively small amount that many people could come up with or could get from someone else. But this is just to let you know, they don't all call at that time of the morning, but a lot do. I heard another story about some people who called the husband and said that they had the wife, but fortunately she was supposed to be at a doctor's appointment with their child, and he was able to see through 360 that she actually was at the doctor's office. But this is just to let you know that these things are out there. People are getting ripped off on a regular basis because, again, you're terrified. You think someone that you love is in imminent danger, and your response is to try and save them. But I would implement those 3 or 4 things that I shared with you, and I hope this saves someone from losing a great deal of money that you can't afford to lose and can put your mind at some ease. If any of you have experienced anything like that, please leave a comment and let me know about it. Or if you've been a scam, let us know. Share it with us so we can be aware. They have new scams coming out. It seems like on a daily basis. Oh my, it's getting more and more challenging out there. But we have to stick together, share information so that we cannot become victim to some of these evil, evil people. I hope this has been helpful, and share it with someone else so if they get one of these terrifying calls, they'll know what to do. Until next time, may your journeys be filled with joy and blessings. I love each and every one of you. Stay tuned. Hit that like button if you will. It really helps my channel. And if you're not a Globie, for crying out loud, hit that button to subscribe and that bell so you'll get notifications, because I have some great content coming up this week, including some information I want to talk about and share, and my opinion on some things that are going on in our country right now, and just some chat I want to share with you. So tune in, and more to come later in the week. Till next time.